that like I see entrepreneurs, I see people all the time. Like people want to know if they're going to be successful. Watching these videos and actually taking action, 99% of the time, like that's all that actually matters. Like the fact that you care enough to actually change your behavior is the big green flag indicator. You're going to tweak over time, you're going to learn other stuff, but actually doing something about it is what will separate you from everyone else. Let me give you the fourth strategy, all right, which is what I actually did, all right? So I'm obviously not 67 and I have more than $10 million. I made my living expenses as small as humanly possible. All right, so protein shakes, Chipotle, I split a bedroom. All right, so I lived in a house and I had 6 roommates. And then within one of the rooms, I split the room like college style, like dorm style, because it was cheaper, right? And I was never there anyways, I was working all the time. I owned a used car that I paid for outright. So the only thing I had was my car insurance, that was it. But I had no car payments. I haven't had car payments in a very long time. Like buy a used car that's 10 years old, that's in good condition, pay 10 grand for it, and then just like never have a car payment again. And then I invested my money, in learning to make more money. You want to increase your income, right? But how do you really do that? Because when you factor in that it's one of the only things strong enough to break the cycle is that you just have to make more. So think about it. Like if you spend $2,000 having someone help you learn how to sell, ideally a place with some sort of placement assistance. I remember for me, I spent $750 per hour for 8 hours to have a guy who really knew how to do ads at a higher level. Because remember, this is a guy who's going to charge $750, not your buddy, right? You might be able to just buy him Chipotle and he'll do it for you, right? But to have somebody who actually taught me how to run ads at a high level. Those 8 hours, that tutoring, that skill that I was able to learn from that one-on-one tutoring made me hundreds of millions, not just hundreds of millions, literally. Now, let's take the other example I had a little further. Let's say you invest that $2,000 in learning that skill. And that $2,000 takes you from a $30,000 a year income to a $90,000 a year income. And post-taxes, at least in the US, that's about $75,000 a year, assuming you live on, let's say $2,500 a month because you're living lean. That's $35,000 per year after taxes, after expenses that you can invest on for the rest of your life. So that $2,000 one time gave you a permanent $35,000 per year increase in investable income. That is how you get the absurd returns that can get you out of this cycle. And so put this in perspective, if you did nothing else and you invested the $3,000 a month, roughly, that alone would get you to $31 million in 50 years. And that's with 0 raises, 0 new skills, and 0 increase in opportunity. You literally just doing the exact same thing for 50 years. And so the idea here is like you want to use compounding to your advantage. And the way to increase how much you can invest is to make more, spend less. And in the